Hey friends, thanks for joining me for today's video in which I'm going to share with you my impressions of 10 fragrances that I've had an opportunity to sample. So I have some disclaimers about that are newer and a bunch of which have gotten some hype here on YouTube. So my disclaimer about sampling is the same as it has always been. You can't really get a full experience from a sample. You can get an idea, sometimes a pretty good idea of what a fragrance smells like and how it's going to wear on you. I've had the experience multiple times of it being completely different from the sampling experience to a full bottle experience. And it's happened both ways where I've thought a sample was fantastic and I purchased the full bottle and the full bottle was maybe a little bit more lackluster than I was expecting. And I've had it happen the other way where the sample maybe wasn't that hot of an experience and I end up for whatever reason splurging for a bottle and find, oh my gosh, this is actually really nice. So sampling can be all over the place. So just know that. I wouldn't say these are exactly first impressions. I'd say they're somewhere between a second and third impression of the fragrance. I haven't had a chance to do a full day wear on these. So I just want to be transparent. We're talking about like sampling on the arm at a specific time of day. So let's get into it. First up is from a house that I have been enjoying a lot, Andrea Mack. She's from Iceland and she has worked with perfumers on this line to create fragrances that remind her of these images that she has of her life in Iceland. And so it's really interesting to see the story behind each bottle. So I think it's 3 or 4 full bottles from this house now. I was really interested in this one, nearly blind bought it, and then thought, pump the brakes, try this out. Glad that I did, only because I'm not sure this is the season to really be into this kind of fragrance. It's called Jest. It's the newest from the brand, and you're supposed to get plum and apple at the top of the fragrance. I can't say I get that. Let me tell you really simply what this smells like to me, at least from sampling, and I did try it on skin too. This smells like a soft milk chocolate plus leather. There's no leather in the fragrance. There's vanilla, ambroxan, musk. There is chocolate. So I'm not sure where the leather feeling is coming from, but for me, it's undeniable. It's a nice, soft, really almost like a suede leather rather than like car seat leather, but it's still leather. That's what I'm picking up. Definitely with that nice soft chocolate on it and a little bit of booziness. I think it's an interesting fragrance and one that I would probably revisit in the fall. So I had this thing with chocolate where I purchased all these chocolate fragrances. I really enjoyed them and then like overdosed on chocolate perfume. Not literally, friends. I had way too many chocolate perfumes and had to sort of pare that collection down a bit. And so chocolate, as much as I like it sometimes in fragrances, is not one that I want to reach for often. Like you have to be in a certain mood to wear chocolate as a fragrance. And then chocolate and leather is an even more interesting combination. So this is a strong maybe for me. I would definitely revisit this in the fall and see how it wears in cooler weather and whether it's something that I would want to pick up for myself or maybe for my husband. But it is like a happy smelling fall fragrance with the chocolate. I do get nuances of like really slight, very pale fruitiness in the background of the fragrance, and then that soft sort of buttery leather. In fact, I wrote on the blotter here, it smells like buttery, flat, chocolatey leather. And it's kind of cool. It's a cool fragrance. My husband and I tried out all these fragrances together, and I tried them out again on the second day. And so I would give this fragrance probably a strong like 6.5 into the 7 range. So this is a maybe. Next is a fragrance that I didn't think I was interested in actually purchasing, but I wanted to try it as a fragrance. And this is Juliet from Juliet Has a Gun. I mean, it is perfectly fine, folks, to just get samples and decants of fragrances and try them out just like scratch the itch. We don't have to go buy every bottle. And I will say, if you like buying everything, hey, and your budget can afford it, that's fine too. To each their own, what they want to do with this hobby. This is a woody, fruity composition of dark cherry, pink berry, and jasmine. I do get a nice soft cherry at the top, a berry-esque type of scent flavor, if you will, and then it does dry down into a pretty generic but nice smelling floral. Does it have woody notes in it too? I feel like there's a little bit of woody muskiness in the base of it. I thought this was a pleasant enough fragrance, and if you're interested in picking it up or checking it out, I would say do that. It's definitely worth a good sniff. I gave this about a 6 or a 6.5 in terms of its nice, pleasant opening. And then the mid and the dry down, I'd probably give in between the 5 and the 6 range. It was nice. I don't know that I want to purchase a bottle of this. So this is going to go on my no list for now. And again, maybe I'll get the chance to try the full bottle experience and will change my mind. But that's my sampling experience. Next up is a fragrance that's gotten a lot of hype on YouTube. I almost blind bought this one too, mostly because of who it's named after. I thought that was super cool. This is called Sparkling Joe from Wilhelm Parfumerie. It's named after the beautiful Josephine Baker and her legacy that she has left behind, the Queen of the Night. So the fragrance is supposed to be known as being sparkly, like champagne-y and bright with pear and ginger and musk. I have to spray this one again because it doesn't last long. I do think it opens up nice and bright. It does smell a little bit like a glass of champagne with a little pale fruitiness in it. I have to say though, I felt like the fragrance smelled slightly nondescript, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It reminded me a lot of like Your Skin But Better types of fragrances that have a nice, pleasant smell on your skin, but don't really stand out from the crowd. So I didn't find this to be a particularly unique, compelling, or fascinating scent. I do like the notion of it and that it's named after Josephine Baker. I do like the Wilhelm Parfumerie bottles. They are very pretty. I do think that this is a pleasant scent. I don't necessarily want to think about purchasing a bottle of this right now. If anything, I might go for like a travel spray of this and count it as my like fresh out of the shower, Your Skin But Better types of fragrances because it is really pretty in that sense. My husband gave this a 4. I gave this a 3, mostly because here's the thing, like I just did a clean musk video and I just did a skin scents video. And so I guess I was expecting something different from this fragrance. If I had gone into this knowing that it would be that type of scent, I probably would have thought differently about it. So that said, I think it definitely deserves a sniff, and I would consider a travel spray or something similar of this because it is a very pleasant smell. A little bit nondescript for my taste though. And I will say this is one that I did try on skin because I was in the headspace of wanting to think highly of it. So yeah, I'm going to go next to Lucky Candy from Montal. Y'all, the pink bottle. Hello! We love a pink bottle. The bottle caught my attention. Before I knew what this smelled like, I would have thought that this smelled very girly, fluffy, pretty, sugary. And it doesn't at all. Well, the notes tell you or give you the impression that this is going to smell very uplifted and girly. And what stands out to me is marshmallow and frangipani. You also see cocoa beans, bergamot, honey, vanilla pods, sweet toffee, dry amber as some of the keynotes that are highlighted. I will say this fragrance smelled a lot warmer and cozier than I was expecting. And so it's a nice scent in that way. My husband really liked it a lot. He gave it about a 6.5 to 7. I gave it about a 5. I was being a harsh critic the night that we first tried these. The second day, I thought the same thing. It smells, I don't get a whole lot of like gourmand notes out of the fragrance. I do get this just warm, comforting, sweater enveloping you type of scent. So I give it a thumbs up. I do have other fragrances that are similar in my collection. So for me personally, this would be one that I might wait to go on sale. I might think about it. But if you don't have that type of warm, cozy, giving you a hug, cocooning type of fragrance, it has something in it that just like reminds me almost of like vanilla wafers or those kinds of comfort crackers that, smell like a little bit, they just smell like ever so slightly gourmand, but they have those cracker type of aspects to them. There is something foodie here. Vanilla, sweet toffee, maybe that's what's giving this with the honey. I think it's nice. I'm looking at the description here on the Lucky Scent website, for example, and it's saying it's mouthwatering, it's a gourmand delight. I don't get gourmand delight just from the sampling experience. Let me know if you've tried this and if you would call this a sweet gourmand fragrance. Let us know in the comments. Again, we need a little bit of counterbalance to the sampling kind of experience because like I said, it's just not the full experience. Next is Bravi from Thameen, and I was really interested in this fragrance because it's supposed to be a spicy tuberose with ginger and a novel walnut milk accord. I don't know, y'all. This smells like some kind of alcohol cordial, like almost like amaretto, something like that. I do get something gingery or spicy. It's slightly medicinal. I do think that this is one that warms up nicely on skin, and you have to give it an opportunity to really develop on you. If you want something that is tuberose forward, but not a typical tuberose, because there are some interesting notes surrounding that, this might be one that you try out. Spicy, warm, like I said, this nutty amaretto syrupy thing happening in the background here that is really interesting. So I give this a thumbs up in terms of being interesting and intriguing, and one that I would like to revisit again. My husband did not rate this one well. He didn't like it at all. He gave it a 4. I gave it about a 6. I want to try it again. What is this smelling like? It's bothering me because it's something that I have. I know what it smells like. I know exactly what it smells like. It smells like when you open a jar of honey, what the honey smells like, the air in the jar smells like that concentrated smell mixed with something nutty. That's what I'm getting with the spices and the tuberose. Anyone else? Does that ring any bells for you? Like the thick golden scent, if you will, of honey. I'm intrigued by this fragrance. I find it really, really interesting. I do want to talk about a fragrance that isn't new, but definitely made the rounds and got a lot of hype, and one that I really was interested in blind buying. And I think it is lovely, but I am glad that I sampled it. And it is Jany from Sora Dora. Jany, Johnny, Yanni, something, however you pronounce that. I've tried this one several times. The opening of this is exactly what people said. It's like an apple pastry. It's such an amazing opening smell. I really find it intoxicating, spicy, like fall spicy. And some people accuse this of smelling like a fall candle. Absolutely, but it also smells really, really good, period, as a fragrance. Definitely warm baked apples and cinnamon and puff pastry and all things beautiful, delicious, and good for fall scents. It dried down a little bit flat for me. This one is one I did a full day wear on and was just like, okay, if the opening of the fragrance stayed longer, this would be a slam dunk. Ooh, yeah. But then it starts to dry down and it's like it's like the puff pastry gets a little bit stale, that part of things, and the juiciness of like the warm baked apple smell starts to dissipate a little bit. It just kind of flattens out a bit. And nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you want that opening, the opening I would say lasts a good, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, maybe a little bit more. It probably depends on skin chemistry and all of that. And then it flattens out. And so I do like my Angel Share. I do like my Ojan. And I think I like those more than Jany. But what I like about Jany is the bottle. The bottle's so pretty on this, a sort of white marshmallowy bottle. But yeah, you're walking around smelling like a Bath and Body Works candle. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. This is a pass for me for now. Again, we know how things go. If it shows up on sale this fall, maybe it'll be on my shelf. But it's good in the opening if you like apple pastry, like apple turnover smell. Ooh, like spot on for that. A little bit more airy than people were saying. Like I don't get a lot of creamy butteriness from it, but I do get that general feeling of like an apple turnover or a hot apple filled pastry or something. Spot on. Uncanny how they managed to nail that. The next one is from Memo Paris, and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't look up the notes or anything before I tried it. I just knew I wanted to try the new Memo Paris. It's Cappadocia, Cappadocia. The bottle looks like some sort of rock formations out in a desert place. I don't know the story behind this. I will say I'm not interested in this fragrance only because I have plenty that smell like it. It's leather. It's leather. My husband thought it smelled like, what did he say? I wrote it on the back, that the leather is going bad. Leather that has somehow like spoiled or gone rotten. I didn't quite get that. I do get sort of a clean car leather smell, a little bit on the cooler side, a little bit of saffron or something like that, something light and airy that smells leathery. This reminds me a lot of Cuir de Orientica from Orientica in the black bottle. I have that and it's on Mercari because I never wear it, but it's a beautiful leather scent. This smells like that to me, like a fresh car leather smell. If you like that, if that's your zhuzh, this is the one for you. Go check this fragrance out. I don't want to smell like that. I need something a little bit sort of warmer or spicier in my leather fragrances, especially as I continue to sample more leathers. I don't want like the sort of cold, standoffish, silver tone, if you think about it that way. Like if leather had a color and it was silver and smelled like, new car leather, that cold leather smell, which is what I get in this fragrance. So this is a hard pass for me. However, if that kind of leather is appealing to you, I think this is one that you would want to check out. Next up is a house that I've tried a number of fragrances from. I've enjoyed the ones that I've tried. I haven't purchased any, and I don't know that I will purchase any. It's Hermetica, and this is Bloom Tea. This has notes of white lavender, green tea, rose, and musk. I can say that I pick up most of that in the fragrance. There's definitely a very soft rose, almost like you get in the fragrance Stella from Stella McCartney, if you remember that. that kind of just soft, delicate, demure rose. There's definitely a soft tea and a very, very not dense musk, a light, airy musk in the fragrance. I think this is one of those lovely your skin but better fragrances, one of those lovely fresh out of the shower, minimalist types of fragrances. I'm not in a rush to go purchase this. However, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think it's nice. I will say this is one of those fragrances. When I first tried it, it wasn't interesting to me. When I went back to it the second time, I saw its appeal. And now that I'm here a third time sniffing again, I'm thinking this is actually quite pleasant. It's soft, it's pretty, it's easygoing, it's everyday. And the bottles are so pretty on these like jade color, frosted bottles, bloom tea. So I'm going to give this a thumbs up, and maybe it'll be in my collection sometime this summer. Not sure. Really nice. Y'all, this next fragrance is all over the place in terms of the reviews. This is Love Delight from Amouage. And straight up, my husband called this too safe of a fragrance. And he doesn't know anything about Amouage. He doesn't know about the direction of the line, and that this collection, this part of the collection, is considered to be mass appealing. So what do I think about this fragrance? I love the way it opens. I can see why it is mass appealing. It's so pretty and gentle and sweet, and like this airy prettiness, almost like vanillic croissant-y prettiness, croissant, like a croissant, with some kind of happy floral, maybe a little bit of a bright citrus in the very far background. It's like, okay, ready? It's like a gourmand Play-Doh in the opening, okay, with some notes added on to make it perfumey. And I kind of like that. It's very like nostalgic, happy, pleasant. It's like this fragrance smells like what I was expecting Sparkling Joe to smell like in the opening, in terms of like this Play-Doh, vanillic, maybe slightly musky, slightly powdery. I can see how it's called a floral gourmand. I get that. This fragrance is one I would need to try out on skin several times. If it's going to stay at the retail price of, what is that, $380? Lord have mercy. I definitely need a sale on this. I'm interested in this fragrance. I did have the experience of trying this out on skin, and the dry down flattened out a little bit more than I would like and got a little bit strange. Again, it's one that I'd like to try out again and see how the experience fares. A lot of people have said this isn't worth the price. It's way too plain and ordinary, and as my husband said, safe to be $380 in an Amouage bottle. However, I did like it. I did like it. And so it's one that I would consider if the price came down and I want to try again. So I give this a heavy thumbs up. Yeah, it's a very pretty opening. Oh my gosh, you know what this smells like? It just came to me. Have you ever had Traminette wine? You know how it smells slightly floral, almost aromatic, but it's also sweet and has that wine taste? Take away my little Play-Doh description from before and replace it with, this smells like a little bit like a soft Traminette glass of wine on the opening. That's so pretty. That's so pretty. I like smelling pretty. So I want to try this again, but I'm going to give this a thumbs up for now. Friends, oh, wow. Let's talk about good old vanilla sex, which has, raised some controversy here among fragrance YouTubers, not just for the name of the fragrance, which people had all kinds of comments about. So if you haven't heard, vanilla sex, the term refers to boring sex. But, since it came out during the time of a heavy vanilla moment, some other folks thought that it was a play on that whole thing, like vanilla being spicy and, sexual or something. Anyway, we know Tom Ford as a house is known for being a little bit controversial, all types of opinions about how it is behaving now that it's under new management and what the fragrances, will be smelling like and all that. So the main critique for this fragrance is that it is insanely expensive for what it is. Let me look it up because I don't know that I know what this thing is costing. Give me a second. Yeah, so for a 1.7 ounce, this thing is about $400 US, $395 for 1.7 ounce. And folks want their socks knocked off for that kind of money. And people are very skeptical of Tom Ford as a brand in general and feel like all the fragrances are overpriced and all of that critique. Did I like vanilla sex? Yes, I did. Full disclaimer, I'm biased. I like Tom Ford as a brand, and I'm one of those people that's always rooting for the new fragrance to smell good. So do with that what you will. I will say I'm not interested in picking up this fragrance at that price. So I get people's gripe with that. It did open up quite lovely. People have said that on the opening, it smells like vanilla extract. And I do get that vanilla extract with almost like this almondy, bready kind of quality to it. It did settle down into Play-Doh. They ain't lying. That's the truth. Would I still get it if I found it on sale? Probably, mostly because I enjoy collecting Tom Fords that I think that I like, even if they're not amazing fragrances. I'm okay with that. I will say for consumers that are not like just Tom Ford stands, you may want to bypass this one or go smell it and see what you think. It is mega pricey for what it is, and you can probably get 1,000 other vanillas that smell similar for a fraction of that cost if that matters to you. So I give it a thumbs up, especially in the opening. It does have that sort of like, it's almost like a boozy quality. If you've ever had pure vanilla extract, when you're smelling it, there's almost like this like gaseous booziness that rises up from it. It has that in the opening for me. And as it calms down, it gets more into like that almondy Play-Doh type of sphere, which nothing wrong with that. But I get why people are like disappointed with this as a release. Leave it to the Tom Ford brand to stir up some mess in frag combo. For sure. So I think those are the 10 fragrances that I wanted to talk about today. I have other videos where I'm going to be sampling. Hey, are you interested? Hey is for horses. Who remembers hearing that growing up? But hey, are you interested in hearing about Whittian as a brand? I have now tried 3 of them and I own 2 bottles. So I have 5 fragrance experiences to talk about. And are you interested in hearing about the House of Beau? I have 1 and I'm considering purchasing another, and I've tried 4 or 5 others. So these are super pricey houses, Whittian and House of Beau, and only want to review them if people are interested in hearing about them. So let me know in the comments and we'll put a video together about these. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Let me know your thoughts on these releases in the comments. Let me know if you have them and if you love them. If you agree or disagree with my reviews, it's all good, friends. We're here among fragrance friends and your opinion counts. Let us know in the comments what you think. Take care and we'll see you in the next video.